This is the Protectors Project. Real conversations about leadership, preparedness, and protection when it actually matters. Building better protectors one story at a time with host Joshua Sullivan. Let's get into it.
And we are back. So now we are also, as you can see, joined by Colton's mom, my sister, Jamie, and we have Travis. They have been very helpful in letting us have a child to use. Are you already getting emotional?
No.
Oh, you hear her over there? Yeah. But we, I just want to have a conversation, right? And because I know you guys teach home safety, right? But I think it's important to everybody at home and everybody that might see this to understand that you could do the most work prepping and it doesn't matter. Does Colton play any video games right now?
Absolutely.
What does he play?
He's playing Superheroes 2.
This is on tablet, I assume?
No, on the Xbox.
Okay.
On tablet, he plays a lot of like Sonic and a lot of learning games.
Is he at any of the games yet, like Roblox or any of those kind of things?
We don't allow that.
Why?
Because I just hear things that have happened before.
Like what?
Well, I'm a former gamer.
Former. Who are you lying to?
Former online gamer, current Call of Duty gamer. I know what people say and how they speak. So it's just not conducive for a child's development to be listening to that. And when it comes to like Roblox, World of Warcraft, Minecraft, or any of those other games, there's too large of a community to be monitored, and no matter how hard you try, you just can't limit what your child gets exposed to, especially with the recent developments that have happened with Roblox.
Well, they're not recent. That's the unfortunate part is that they're not recent.
That it came to light.
Yeah.
I mean, he has coloring books from Roblox, and he knows what it is, but we won't allow him to play it.
Yeah. Well, part of what we're going to do today and talk about, I'm going to bring up some stuff from my house, right, with my stepson, and I'm not going to put his name or information out and all that stuff, obviously, but it's a pretty wild world we live in right now. And I mean that in the worst way possible. The Sean Ryan Show podcast, I'm a big fan of Sean Ryan. And his, I guess now his second to last episode, they brought on Schlep.
Okay.
Right? Schlep was a big time gamer for Roblox. He did developer stuff. Like, he was big, and he was groomed and he was abused on the platform. And so, you know, this was the first time he really got out, and it was the first time he even put his name of his abuser on out there in public. Sean Ryan did, and he's doing great things over at that podcast. But one of the things, I mean, part of being an investigator or detective, I've investigated some pretty shitty stuff. That's the most bad word that we're going to do today. I'm going to try to be, because I want more families to be able to watch this in reality. So normally I would mark it as explicit and use the F-bomb a couple times, but I'm going to try not to do that today. One of the things that was shocking to me, and so my stepson's 11, is on Roblox. Age verification doesn't matter. And they've already said that there's ways to get around that. But something as simple as Roblox, they played, and the game they played was a recreation of a mass shooting. And when you shot the students, the actual victims' names came up of the students, and they were made to look like them as much as they could. But within 5, and I'm not even exaggerating, within 5 seconds of being on, when they were on the show doing this live at the time, of course, but they started getting chat messages. And it was, hey, how old are you, boy or girl? Do you want to get freaky? Within 5 seconds. And there was, you saw all the messages popping up. And the unfortunate part is, everybody, I go to my live active shooter survival training part when I'm thinking about this, because one of the things that we talk about is optimism bias, where you think the good is going to come out of everything in every situation. That's naturally what our bodies want us to think. The reality is, not too long ago, when I was walking to my bedroom, I saw my stepson on his phone, and when he heard me, because he didn't see me, when he heard me, I saw him very quickly turn off the screen and kind of hide his phone. And when when I went and investigated it, I said, let me see your phone. Why? And he wouldn't give me his phone, so I finally took his phone, and he was chatting with strangers on Roblox. And so I immediately took it to his mom and said, hey, just look through this, see what you see. And he was telling strangers, I love you. He was talking about things that, I wouldn't say he was talking about things that he shouldn't have been talking about, but there were things that were probably inappropriate, or not probably, were definitely inappropriate to be talking to a stranger about. And we've had those conversations, right? Just like you've had conversations with Colton about strangers, right? But there's a reason why people can't vote till they're 18. There's a reason why, people can't serve in the military until they're 18. I mean, hell, right now you can't buy a gun without being 21 for a pistol or, be able to carry a pistol, right? There's a reason, and it's because the brains don't develop in kids, obviously, right? They're still learning, they're understanding what's right and wrong. And there's already, and the reason I bring Roblox up in other places is because there's already things that hurt the ability for kids to have innocence, right? But even more shockingly, I've had to investigate cases involving child sexual misconduct or sexual abuse, physical abuse, unfit parenting. Like, that's a lot of what we do for our investigative capacity at our company. And I've seen some pretty messed up stuff, right? And off record, I would never admit to this, but you guys have heard some of the stories that we've had from some of the investigations that we've done. And one of the things that people don't realize is that, I don't remember, let me see if I can find the actual statistic. But while I'm finding this statistic, I want you guys to tell me about, as parents, what are your fears, right? For everything that we know going forward, as far as keeping your children safe, what are your fears?
Well, I always swore I wasn't going to be a helicopter parent. And, I'm not as bad as my wife, but you better believe whenever we go out, I'm completely aware. One, because you are my brother-in-law, and I've followed your career and your teachings. And
Did your microphone turn off?
No, still.
Okay.
And through my knowledge base, I always make sure I know where he is 100% of the time. If something were to happen where we're taken out, my biggest fear is that it's not going to be enough. His innocence, and places where we can't be to accelerate his protection, his knowledge, schools, where we're both very involved, and you notice it's still not enough, because we get text messages, school's on lockdown, I'm at work, I'm driving a tractor trailer, I get that message come across my phone, I'm pulling the vehicle over to find out what's going on.
Right. What about you?
I mean, you know me. I'm scared of everything. I tell them all the time.
I'm taking bets, by the way, how soon she starts crying. Just FYI, but continue.
30 seconds.
I think it'll be a couple minutes until we get into more stuff.
No, like, even walking across the street or going into like a Home Depot or anything, I'm always telling them, you have a hand, or you're standing right next to me, you're not walking away. And we always tell them, anybody can come up beside you and grab you and walk away with you. And if you're not right there with us, we can't do anything.
DC the other weekend.
Yeah. So, I mean, we try to tell them all those things, but I mean, my fears are anything that can go wrong with the kids. Somebody grabbing them, taking them. I mean, I'm going to tell you, I was 90% sure he was going to walk out that door with that guy, even though we've told him multiple times.
And for the record, the guy that he walked out with, it was all set up from us. He's the chief of police for a police agency here in Maryland. He's a friend of mine that I've known for a long time. And it was like, oh, wait, Dan, hey, wait, your dog is at home with your wife, right? Oh, yeah, that's right, kind of thing. Just in case the recorders weren't going properly, one of the things, because we're not showing, the way this podcast episode is going to be is we're not going to show what happened first, right? We're going to talk a little bit, and now we're going to show the video, right? And what you may or may not hear in this video, which I'll share in a second, we'll put what was said, right? So if you didn't hear it, you'll still be able to see it, what was said. But let's share the video real quick. Are you excited?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick, okay? And then we'll get started, okay?
Okay.
So just hang out for a second.
What's up, buddy?
Good.
How are you? Good. You Cole? You Josh's nephew? Oh man, I gotta see this dog I got. It's pretty cool. You wanna come see it? Come on. Show you how it is. I'm gonna go this way. I'm gonna wait for Josh to come up.
All right, so we just saw the video, and if you didn't hear or see what happened, long story short, as soon as I said, hey, we're all set up, everything's recording, I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick, Colton, so just chill here, I'll be right back, and we'll start. Chief Ruffin walked in and said, hey, you're Colton, right? Josh is your uncle? And something to that effect, and he said, yeah, and he was like, oh, I heard you like puppies. Look, I have a new puppy, and showed him a picture of a dog that he got from Google. I said, he's actually in the car. Do you want to go see him? And Colton said, yeah, and jumped right up and walked out. I was on the other side of the door. I had went around the different ways so he couldn't see me, obviously, and I said, oh, wait, Dan, your dog is with your wife, I thought, right? Oh, yeah, right. So nothing harmful, nothing, everything like that. But let's play when we started asking Colton real quick about what happened, and then we'll kind of jump back into our interview. All right, so what happened, Colton, when I went to the bathroom just now?
I don't know.
Did you talk to anybody? Yeah, who did you talk to?
I don't know.
You don't know who he was? What did he tell you?
I can see his dog.
Did he show you a picture of a puppy and said,
Yeah.
do you want to go outside and see it? And what did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you got up and you walked out of the room with him?
Yeah.
Do we think that was a good idea?
I don't know.
Did you know who that was?
No.
No. Okay. What have you learned about strangers?
I don't know. Again.
Well, you know about strangers because I know your mommy and daddy have talked about them. So what do you know about strangers? Put the cord down because it'll come out. What have they told you about strangers?
I don't know again.
You sure?
Yeah.
Is that why you're smiling?
No.
Yeah, you're not in trouble. We just want to talk about it. So did they tell you that strangers are people you're allowed to go talk to all the time? Did they tell you that we should always listen to strangers?
No.
So what did we learn? What are we supposed to do with strangers?
Don't talk to them.
Don't talk to them? Because we don't know if they're good or bad people, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you think that we should have told the stranger that came into the room that we wanted to go see their puppy in their car?
No.
No. Why?
Because it's a stranger.
And what could have happened?
He was trying to trick me.
He could have been trying to trick you, right? So, do you want to know who my friend was that you talked to?
No.
Yeah, you do. It's pretty cool. That was my friend. You know what he is? He's a chief of police. He's actually the head police officer for his police department. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you didn't know that though, right?
No.
We didn't know that that's what he did for a living. So do you think it was probably something we shouldn't do in the future, right?
Yeah.
Because mommy and daddy has told you about strangers. Yeah. So is Uncle Josh and Aunt Ann and probably me, Mom, Papa Dan, and everybody else. So things could go really bad, right?
Yeah.
If we do that.
Yeah.
So I want you to tell me about school. Do you like school?
Yeah.
Yeah? You have fun at school?
Yeah.
What kind of fun stuff do you do?
I get to go on my Chromebook.
You get to get on your Chromebook at school? And that's how you learn?
No, we get to have some fun.
Yeah, what kind of fun stuff do you do on your Chromebook?
I play some games and like there's other stuff like
Is there like learning games on there?
there's measurements.
Yeah? Is that fun? You like doing measurements?
But even there's like which one's heavier and even some of them are a little tricky.
Oh, yeah? What's your favorite part about school?
I'm doing Chromebook.
Doing the Chromebook. What grade are you in?
Kindergarten.
You're getting old. You know that?
And even I already had 100.
100 days at school? Yeah, did you like dress up cool for that?
No.
No. Did they have any like celebrations for it for 100 days of school?
No.
No. So, what would happen if a stranger came in your school?
Don't talk to him.
You wouldn't talk to him? Do you think one of them could trick you if they tried?
Yeah.
Yeah, why do you think that?
Because it's a stranger.
Okay. Dad,
Yes.
what do you think about what just happened?
I'm slightly shocked, but understandably, it needs to be addressed a little bit more, especially with the strategies that can be often used by strangers.
So I guess it's probably worth me noting, just for the record, this is my nephew and godson. This is Colton. How old are you, Colton?
5.
5 big years old, right? This is my brother-in-law. Don't press anything on the screen. This is my brother-in-law. My sister's in the room as well.
It's kind of dark.
It's okay. It's still recording. I can still see the light.
Now it's off.
It's fine. It's okay.
It's okay, bud.
Tell me about, because obviously I know you guys, right? And I know you guys go over stuff. So tell me about what you go over with Colton at home, about strangers or about danger and stuff like that.
Well, Colton is enrolled in karate, so we practice self-defense, and it's reiterated every class, and it's also orientated that the defensive methods that we use are to protect ourselves from strangers, and they often do
Sit up in your chair.
routines, simulations, essentially. You're not my mom, you're not my dad, and then run away. Now at home, we've had multiple discussions, things not to touch, things to avoid, what happens when we go to the park. And when I said about strategies, puppy dogs, that's probably the most common, and no matter how much you push and try to teach, kids love puppies.
Yeah.
It's something that we may need to focus on a little bit more as well. Especially, we have dogs, so it's his attention, and most kids' attention is directly focused. You see a dog at a grocery store, you want to pet it.
Gotcha. Well, here's what I think we're going to do. We're going to give Colton a chance to get off mic now, and he can go and hang out with his brother and his grandparents for a little while. And I want to talk to both of you and just kind of go over some stuff and kind of where we're at in today's world and put some stuff out there as well. So we're going to take a quick break, and then we will get back to everybody that's watching at home and kind of dive into what happened, not with little ears around, and kind of some of the other stuff that we have going on, and we'll get right back to it. So give us a second, and we will be right back.
Let's take a quick break and hear from our sponsors.
All right, we are back. So as you see, Colton knew, right? And as an investigator and as somebody that does interviews and interrogations and have unfortunately had to interview children, they know when they did something wrong, right? And you could see his reaction right away, where he was like, "Oh, I don't know," right? Like he was very dismissive because he knew. But that's the scary part, right? So I found those stats we were looking for from earlier. So overall child abuse, right? That's physical, any of them, right? The majority are going to be physical child abuse cases. About 90% of the child abuse victims know their abuser. Most perpetrators and again, this is according to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Administration for Children and Families. Most perpetrators are family members or caregivers. Now, again, I want to state this. This is more talking about physical abuse, not the sexual. We'll talk about those numbers in a second. But the breakdown that they even give for substantiated abuse cases typically are parents 77 to 80% of the time, other relatives 6 to 8%, mother's partner or father's partner, so like live-in girlfriends, whatever, 4 to 5%, and then the rest kind of come in between the last 1 to 2%. And those could be coaches, teachers, neighbors, all that. But when we get into sexual, especially, because that, there's a lot of, I almost did it. Hold on. There's a lot of creeps out there, right? And it's pretty crazy. 93, this is research from the National Children's Alliance and the RAINN, RAINN. 93% of child sexual abuse victims know the perpetrator, which is pretty crazy, right? And this is something we've known from the investigation side, which is why we look at everybody involved when we're doing things. But the typical breakdown, according to them, 34% of the time family members, 59% of the time acquaintances, so family, friends, coaches, neighbors, authority figures, pastors, things like that. And then only 7% of those times are strangers. That's pretty crazy to me, right? Yeah. So it kind of takes you to a different thought process when you think about that. We spend so much time talking about strangers that we don't really talk about the people that matter. We don't talk about the different people that are the karate coaches, right? We don't talk about, nurses, doctors, right? Who do we tell our kids that are allowed to see them naked?
Doctors. But we tell Colton the only people are mommy and daddy and the doctors when mommy or daddy is with you.
But you also tell them not to leave with strangers.
Right. And
Right.
he left.
Right. So, and I'm not saying that to, you understand what we're
Yep.
talking about here. So like, it's, we're just being open and honest. It's a lot of the times kids take pieces of what we tell them and maintain them. So he knew he wasn't supposed to leave with a stranger because he even talked about it, right? When we talked to him afterwards about it. So he knows, oh, doctors are allowed to see me naked. And to kids, especially at 5 years old, when you think of a doctor, that's a nurse,
Right.
that's in scrubs, that's, anyone that has a stethoscope on, right, that we see on all these little kid shows that they watch. There's a lot, right? So I guess now we need to figure out, how do we solve it? Right? And there's no real easy way to do it. And that's why these people, these predators, have so much advantage over us. So what does that look like? Well, you guys have talked to Colton about it. You could talk to Colton every day until he's blue in the face because he's hard-headed,
And he'll still leave with
and
him.
he's still going to leave with the person, right? We hope that the talk. Go ahead.
The consistent, pushing the lesson, but it's hard to figure out how to compete.
You've never been a quiet person in your life, and now you're talking quietly. I just want to put that out for the record.
All right, so it's the consistent lessons that we can continue to teach, but it becomes more of a competition with their games and stuff like that because they're more vested in the games than they are what mommy and daddy or even their teachers are going to tell them. And if they're being told something in a game that they're actually enjoying and having fun, they're going to pay more attention to that, good or bad,
Right.
as it comes across. So it's going to affect them more.
Jamie?
I mean, I think that consistency is key, but again, like you in that moment, you can't be there with them, and they're going to make the choice that in the moment they feel is the right one. So I think to just, and I also don't want to take their innocence away by telling them all the bad things all the time. But in Colton's situation, I feel like he has to hear that all the time. So it's in his brain when something like that happens that he remembers, oh, I'm not supposed to go with that person. Let me go find my mom.
Yeah. Well, so I think it's important to kind of say it this way. The biggest threat to our kids is not the stranger in the van with candy.
Right.
In reality, the biggest threat to our kids is somebody that already has access and trust to them. Right? So how do we teach, right? All the leading people out there, all the different organizations, which most of them are quack jobs in my opinion, to be honest, right? Like we talk about your pediatrician all the time. If you're watching and you're their pediatrician, you suck. But some, like you didn't know what this podcast is. So part of it is, it's unfortunate, you said, and something that I talk about all the time is their innocence. We don't live in a world that we can spare their innocence anymore. Because if it's not us at 5, it's only a few years left until he's 3rd, 4th grade probably, if not before that, where the kids are, whatever kids are going to start saying stuff and they're going to start learning different body parts and they might not know what it is yet.
They're
Yeah.
already saying
Yeah.
it. Declan, youngest, comes home and he's got a mouth on him.
Well, Declan's a lot like me, so you guys are in for it.
Colton's already hearing a lot of it as well. It's rather sad. And like I said, I get these text messages that come across from the school.
Well, when you talk about innocence, he has friends at school now, and I'm getting asked for play dates. Or he came home the other day and said, "Can I have a sleepover at John's house?" And instead of saying absolutely not to him because that would hurt his feelings, I said, "How about we just have a play date?" Even play dates, I'm like, I can't
Well,
text this parent.
let's
and-
talk about this. Did you have sleepovers?
Absolutely.
Did you go to sleepovers?
Yep.
Do you remember that as being a fun part of your life?
Yes.
Are you going to take that away from your son?
Yes.
I'm putting you on the point. Like, I know I'm
Yes.
putting you on the spot here,
Because
right?
I don't know, like, yes, I've met the parents. They seem nice. Well, I don't know what goes on in their house.
Right.
And I'm not a trusting person anyway. So there's no chance.
What do you
Unless I really know them.
Well, honestly, you know me. Most people that do know me know I'm quite standoffish, and
Would have never known that.
I try to not necessarily like outright intimidate people, but let people know that that's my son, and if something happens, the movie Taken isn't going to be enough. Like there's nothing that's going to stop me if you do something to my child. And at the same point in time, I do think that affects some of the parents in allowing them to hang out with their kids to hang out with my kids, whether it be the invites or anything else.
I'm not going to put any names out. I actually probably will reach out to this person to see if they want to be on an episode, though. Because there's a lot of different views that we have from each other. And it's a very extended family member of ours, which I think you might know who I'm talking about. But there was some religious stuff in his upbringing, some hardcore religious stuff in his brain, because they brought up very religious, and some things happened to him that he's started to kind of shed light on. And I wonder, because again, there's a lot of different views than that person has, than most of our family, most of our people that we associate with. But I think it's not enough anymore to say, like, personally, as somebody that's investigated a lot of these cases, I don't think we say only these people. Only mommy and daddy can see you naked now. Because if what you said, right, well, only the doctor if mommy and daddy's in there, right? I think first off, we start getting that language out, right? And this is, for you at home, we're not experts in this. I'm not an expert. I investigate this stuff, and I'm telling you what best practices are from different organizations out there, but we're not the end-all be-all, right? And make comments. Tell us what you've been through. Tell us, whatever. But another one that we need to teach is nobody should be asking you to keep secrets. No adult.
Absolutely.
Right? And we have to make them understand that if an adult asks you to make a secret, they're probably doing something bad and you need to tell on them. Right?
Unless it's daddy and he was at Cabela's, don't tell mommy.
Yeah. Depending on, unless you're her and she wants to know. But I mean, the other part of it too is on that same front. If something feels wrong to you as to your child, you're never going to get in trouble for telling me. Right. That's something that we need to get through to them.
We tell them that all the time. Like, if they come home and they say something or they ask a question that's not a normal question that they would ask, especially Colton, since he's in a public kindergarten now, where did you hear that from? Or why are you asking me that? And he'll give me those answers. I don't remember. I don't know. And then a couple minutes later, after I've asked him 5 times, he'll tell me who it was. And I'm like, you're not in trouble. I just want to know who you heard it from.
Well, I mean, again, I'm not putting too much of my home business out there because of whatever reasons you want to come up with, because of our blended family, I'll say. I tell my kids, both my kids and my stepson, so I tell my kids, I don't care if you tell me the truth. We can get by that together, and you probably won't get in as much trouble. It's when you lie to me, and I know you're lying to me. And ding, ding, ding. People at home, you probably already know this, and I know you guys, I literally trained to interrogate people for a living. I just expanded my for a week-long interview and advanced interrogation class at the it was me, 4 other local or police officers to the Maryland area, and like 28 feds, right? Like I'm on the same level as them when it comes to interrogations. For my kids, I can tell when they're lying before they open their mouth, right? And one of them, my stepson's learned that the hard way at this point, but the scary part is what most parents miss, and that's the grooming process. When nothing bad has actually happened yet, but they're setting up the pillars, right? And it's not just the kids that get groomed. The parents do too.
To become comfortable.
Yep. So what are some common grooming behaviors? If you guys had to think just without knowing what, because you guys really had no idea. I didn't tell you guys all the stuff we were going to be talking about for a reason, right? Like I'm not stupid, but what are some grooming? Like what in your mind right now would make you even, if you did, think, oh, this is weird. Is this grooming?
Regular visits, or even irregular visits, just showing up out of the blue, quote unquote, but yet knowing that we were going to be there.
Okay.
Getting back, get some.
There's no wrong answers here. I'm just looking to see what you guys would think, because I have a list of things that I'm going to bring up.
Gifts.
And a lot of them I think people would be like, huh, what was it?
Gifts.
Okay. Hold on. I have to find it. The one you just said was on the list.
Gifts for parents?
For anybody. Do you have any?
The only thing I can think of off the top of my head is like asking what your plans are all the time, or wanting to know what you're doing, where you're going. Just becoming comfortable with your schedule.
Okay.
I don't know.
It's hard to think about. I mean, it's easy to think about. It's just hard to place everything because now I'm actually like.
We're just talking soft again.
Now I'm actually running through everything in my head. Like
You might need to hook it to your beard.
I might need to hook it to my beard. Is that better?
No, but it's fine. We can still hear you. Well, here's some of the lists that we have and stuff that we learned from the investigative standpoint, some of the things that we have asked questions before we ever even get close to asking specific questions, right? Hold on. Pull it up. So, special gifts is one. Private rides. Somebody offers, hey, well, if you guys aren't going to church today, I'll take them, right? Extra attention. Isolating the child. And a really big one is becoming the favored adult, right? Like those are just some. The big rule for parents that we kind of are taught that we look for and that we try to educate, especially for like our training and what we do, is we really teach parents to look for adults that seek access one-on-one to the kids repeatedly. That should automatically raise a flag, right? Online has become the hunting ground, right? So you guys aren't at that age yet, but it's not far, right?
Oh, he asks all the time to play Roblox.
Yeah.
Put it on his tablet.
It's not far, but it's one of those things where it's coming,
Yeah.
right? They're coming into that age, and so it's coming.
Yeah.
We're already there, right? And my son Mason, I mean, he's been video gaming since he could, right? And I didn't let him play certain games until he was old enough, and the boy's big and dumb, but he's tough. So like he's not dumb.
Love you, Mason.
I'm just kidding. But he knows though, and he also was taught very early. Like, if something happens, you come tell me because Dad's gonna kill whoever it was, right? But like it's coming, and even his upbringing is different than what Colton and Declan's is going to be. Hell, it's different than what Oliver's is.
Definitely. It's actually sad. I was just sitting here thinking about it. I'd almost rather have him play Call of Duty and listen to the chat rooms there than playing kid-oriented games.
Yeah, and you know, it's not just games, right? Where some of these online things are taking place. There's a hunting ground. Some of the common ones, gaming chats. That's pretty obvious, especially if you watch the link to the show I just dropped, where when he gets on, you'll see how quick it is that people start messaging. Snapchat, Instagram, Discord, TikTok, Roblox, Fortnite voice chat. That's a huge one that people aren't giving enough attention to. There's a lot of bad stuff going over there. And why is it easy for them? Well, because predators aren't stupid, right? They go into it thinking that they're children that they're talking to. Go ahead.
So, side note, you can edit this out. Discord actually is implementing a verification ID, so you can't.
They've already started selling that on eBay.
Driver's license.
They started selling them on eBay.
Oh wow.
Jeez.
Yeah, Deshaun Ryan. If you haven't watched that episode yet, you should. It's eye opening.
Looks like I'm shutting down a bunch of my Discord servers.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Monitor.
They actually go over it in the episode on the Sean Ryan show that they actually in the Roblox chat will say, "Do you have Snap or Discord?" And they'll try to get you to leave Roblox and go to there to actually do what they need to do. So it's crazy, but you know the reality of the situation is what it's many predators pretend to be other kids, and kids are naive, right? They're kids, right? So it happens. But here's what I need you at home to understand, especially if you're a newer parent or if you're a parent of younger kids. Your kids don't have to leave the house to be approached by a predator anymore. It's not the same day that we used to live in, right? Let's talk about risks, right, and how we start to get ahead of those. First off, devices in bedrooms. That's where it starts, right? A simple rule that many investigators or experts on this topic have said is that there should be no internet devices behind closed doors anymore in houses, right? If you're going to have a gaming room, then they game in the living room, right? And you're normally there. You can monitor, you can walk by, you hear something, right? So examples, and I struggle at home with this with my wife about my stepson. Phones should not be in the room with them. We found evidence when a couple things happened that's when it was happening. And I'm not saying anything that could get anybody in trouble or anything like that, but some of the messages even he typed was, well, I can't do that. I can't video call because my stepdad will hear and, you know, he's strict. Out of all the messages that we saw, that was the only one saying that he didn't want to get caught doing something, so he couldn't do something, right? Tablets, gaming systems, laptops. Why? Because secrets give the ability for opportunity, right? The secrecy alone gives that ability for opportunity. And the unfortunate part is that predators thrive in digital spaces. What else do we need to do? Well, we need to teach the kids the difference between secrets and surprises, right? That's something that you guys, and you guys are the voice for parents right now, right? Like, so if you have something you want to say it, because I'm sure that there's people sitting at home right now watching this that probably have the same thoughts. So I want you to voice
Transparency throughout the household, it matters. Jamie and I don't have any secrets. We're trying to be as transparent as absolutely possible. See the eyes. No, she knows. But
Tim's a nice guy. I mean,
you know,
I'm gonna get hate for a gay joke now.
when we're dealing with either one of the children, you know, we relay it. Hey, this is what's going on. And parents, don't let your kids put you against each other. Transparency with each other, get everything handled.
Well, that could be a whole nother episode. That literally could be a whole nother. Well, so if you heard what I just said at home and you're not sure, what did I say? Well, there's a difference between secret and surprises, right? Do you guys know what that means fully? I'm going to explain it either way.
Kind of.
So,
Surprise, just don't tell mom that we're going to throw this party. A secret is don't tell mom.
well, the secrecy is also where the predators thrive, right? We already talked about that. We have to teach our kids that surprises are temporary, right? Birthday gifts, it's once a year on your birthday, right? Not an all the time thing. Secrets are about touching or messages or anything like that. It's not a surprise, right? Like that's not okay. Kids should feel safe that their parents know everything. And that by itself, let's be honest, that's hard. Because as a parent, you still have to protect your children. And one of the things that I hear in investigations, one of the things I hear when I'm interviewing parents about whatever situation, it could be custody, it could be abuse, it could be whatever, is, well, I don't want them to be mad at me or not like me. Especially in divorced households, one of the things you get all the time is, well, I don't want him when he gets to the age where he can pick to not want to come here. Well, would you rather be, hold on. Would you rather than be dead, right? Or have trauma he has to go through? Or would you rather him be pissed off at you or she be pissed off at you for a day because you kept them safe, right? It's a big problem out there in America. Yes, I'm looking at you. You're not, as a parent, you're not there to be their friend. You're there to protect them and grow them to the point where they can take care of themselves and be good people, right? But kids should feel safe telling us everything because they need to understand that, hey, if you do something wrong, could you get in trouble? Yeah, there's a chance. But what's the alternative? And we have to be honest with our kids about what that alternative looks like. So, what are some warning signs that we need to look for? Now, this I'm going to tell you from not only my perspective as an investigator that's trained to do some of these investigations, but also from some people from different organizations that have kind of put together best practices. Behavior changes, that's a huge one, right? And what does that look like? Because, not everybody knows what a behavior change is. What if they all of a sudden have their tablets, right? He starts getting not on the kid side of things anymore. And all of a sudden, it went from him not caring if you saw the screen to all of a sudden he starts trying to hide the screen, right? The secrecy around that. Withdrawal, right? That's a problem anyway, but, especially in this thing. If he comes home from school and has a $20 bill in his pocket that you didn't send him with, where did you get this from? Oh, well, Mr. John gave it to me on the bus. Well, who is Mr. John? Right? Like, that's not a reasonable, normal thing. So new gifts or money. One of the things that I don't think we take, I'm going to say this for every stage of life. Intuition is everything. One of the things that we don't take seriously, and I'm going to put this out there right now. How many times have your kid says, I don't like that person, or you can see they don't like someone?
I mean, we get that a lot with other kids, but not necessarily.
So here's my question. That's fine. Have you ever asked why?
Yeah, I always ask why. Well, that person pushed me or said something unkind to me today.
So what about adults? So behavior changes, right? That's a thing. And especially for adults, right? Like we just talked about fear, right? We talked about, oh, well, I don't like that person. If you see your child that all of a sudden has a fear of an adult, that's a problem, right? And then a big one, sexual language above where they should be, right? Like if you're a 5-year-old and you're talking about very sexual things, how did they figure that out, right? Like there's something brought it. And then one of the other ones is a new online friend, right? When you get to the point where you're more connected on the internet and stuff like that, that kind of happens. How can we teach our kids though, right? Because a lot of it we already learned today, right? You guys have spent many times talking about stranger safety and what to do and all that, and It wasn't hard, right? And that's, it's not just on you guys. So I don't want you to feel bad about this, but like at home, like I would put money on it that we could do that to pretty much any of your kids in any situation. You go to the bathroom when you're at a restaurant and you leave your kid at the table by himself. And I walk up and you know, we could go farther into this if we really wanted to, where someone that has any training or someone that does bad things for a living in this instance, it's not hard to see, oh, you play soccer, right? Because they watched you pull up and you have the sticker on your car that your kid plays soccer and there's only one kid in the car. And they leave you alone for 10 seconds or 20 seconds or 2 minutes in the bathroom and, oh, you play soccer, right? Oh, my son, you know, the one that plays goalie. And they say, oh, Lucas? Yeah, Lucas, that's my son. You and Lucas are friends, right? Did he show you the new puppy? Mm-hmm. And that person's gone, right? So how do we actually teach our kids? Well, you said it, right? Repetition, consistency is one of them. But we teach them littler things, right? Stay in groups, right? If you're by yourself, you shouldn't be, right? You should be with mommy, daddy, you should be with somebody, but you should be with somebody, right, that's trusted. Don't go somewhere without telling your parents. If you say, hey, you cannot go anywhere with anybody unless you tell mom or your daddy. So if somebody tries to get you to go with them, you might be able to go with them, but I want you to run to mommy and daddy and tell us first that we know. They might remember that. So in that instance, he's like, yeah. And then as soon as he gets around the corner, he runs to wherever you guys are or knows where whoever the adult is, right? Little things like that change the thought process and can help sometimes.
Practices and atmosphere as well.
No rides from adults without permission from mommy or daddy first, right? And we have to teach everybody, not just kids, but trust your instincts, right? Like that's a huge one. If something feels weird, it probably is. Tell us, right? Like that's a big one. But in talking about like what we talked about, like trying to keep the innocence intact, how can we do it without scaring them, right? Because that's a big thing, right? Colton was not scared in the process of this video. Again, I put that out there. But like, we have to teach kids that believe, and I'll say 100% I'm guilty of this. I'll admit it, I'm guilty of this. One of the things we really should be doing based on all the expert advice out there is we have to tell kids that you're allowed to tell an adult no. Yep. Now, you tell me no, as your dad, I'm a smack. No. But you understand what I'm saying? Like, we have to make it okay for kids to say no to adults, especially ones that they don't know, right?
Well, I do that with Colton. I'm like, if we go tell them, even with family, you want to go give so-and-so a hug before you go? If he says no, he doesn't have to give a hug.
Yeah.
It's okay.
We also have to let them know that within the rules, and I say rules like, you know, they can't leave to go somewhere by themselves. We have to teach kids that they can leave uncomfortable situations. They don't have to stay. And then, of course, once they have a phone and stuff like that, that they can always call for help, right? Even if you've broken a rule, we want you to call for help because we'll help you. That's the first priority. So what's our message to parents from this? Before I get to the message to the parents, what I want to ask you guys, how do you feel about what's transpired even in the past hour and a half?
I feel that
seeing what you saw.
We need to be a bit more involved and setting a better example, atmosphere in general. Put our phones down, put our tablets down, take away our screen time, and be more involved with the kids. Be a part of it. Get them not just diving right into a tablet, you know, and have the conversations. I mean, no matter how much we preach, we push, don't touch the safe, don't touch anything that's left out. Let me know what's going on. You know, who are you talking to? This is stuff that, you know, we reiterate, and in a prearranged situation, he just goes right on off, has no idea.
Yeah.
It's shocking, and it's something that I'm going to work on myself.
What about you?
I mean, I feel a little uneasy knowing everything that goes on, even though I already knew it. But I feel good in a sense because a lot of the things that you said, like no electronics in the bedroom, we're already doing that. You know, we are already on the right path of doing all the things that we need to do. We just need to be more consistent and come up with different ways to stress certain points to the kids. I mean, it is scary that all of this stuff could happen, but I feel good with what we've done so far. Even hearing all the things that you've been saying, I in my head, I'm like, oh, we do that. Oh, we do that. We do that. So
Yeah.
at least we're on the right track.
Well, so this is one of the things I want to put out towards the end of this episode. Most predators succeed because they rely on secrecy, access, and silence. The main start to removing that access and that ability is to take those three things away or monitor them very closely. When we do those things, we reduce that risk to our kids almost instantly. But here's what I want to say. We also have to be understanding that we can't take away their childhood, right? There has to be that line. Hey, you can play these video games, but I put the parental controls on to where there's no chat. You want to chat? Right. Talk to yourself, right? Because we don't want to take their childhood away from them, right? If we were living in the world we lived in now when we grew up, when we were outside, well, you weren't never outside, but I was always outside playing, right? How hard would it have been for somebody to pull by back then?
Oh, yeah.
But it was different back then.
You know, you get home from school, you finish your homework, and you go out
I didn't do
until
my
it's dinner
freaking
time.
homework. I just went outside,
You know,
right? But
she didn't know where we were.
yeah. How many times were all of our friends groups that we had in our neighborhoods walking back and forth in the creek and
Yep.
all the way, almost a mile plus away from our house?
Yep.
We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have anything like that. The only thing we knew is when it got dark, we better be home, right? Or, God forbid, the goddamn bell we had. Ding, 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 ding. But it's a different world.
Yeah.
What if these threats were around back then? We didn't have cell phones that we all
I feel
carried. We
bad
didn't,
that Colton can't go, just outside playing by himself in the front yard without us being a hawk.
One of the things I want to put out there is we talked about not letting them do a lot of things. We talked about not letting them spend time with adults that they don't know that well. You brought up the whole sleepover. There still are ways that we can do that. I don't want this to sound like a sales plug, but it's something we offer. It's not hard for you to get a background check on people. Hey, our kid wants to go to this other kid from our family or our school or his schools for a sleepover. Can you just do a basic background check on me, make sure these people don't have flags that we should see, right? That's legal. We're a private detective agency in Maryland. We have our stuff in Virginia now. We're just waiting on some of the rest of the paperwork to be formalized. We have our DC stuff pending now. But for a background check, I can do a background check on anybody as long as I have a permissible use, and that's something I have to figure out, not you, right? If you say, hey, I want to make sure we're not sending our kid to a sexual predator's house, that's easy to find. And hell, you don't have to use us. There's sex offender websites you can put someone's name in. Now, you might have to play around with how you get their actual information, right? But there's things that you can do to take those actions and then be open with your children. Hey, one of the things if you're going to start going to sleepovers is you have to promise me that if you're uncomfortable, if something happens and they tell you not to tell us or anything like that, you have to tell me, right? And you don't let anybody do, and the stuff that we've already went over, right? Like that's the important part, because I remember some of the better parts of me growing up were going over to my friends' houses for sleepovers, right? I'm at the Clarks. I remember going to Andrews Air Force Base to their house all the time, and I remember some of my other friends. There's a bunch of people I could name, right? And we had a lot of people over Well, I did at least, to our house. I don't think you had very many friends growing up.
Sleepovers.
Oh, I don't know. But again, we're in a position in society today that we have to start taking precautions because the advantage is for the predator right now. Do you hear that?
Yeah.
What is that?
It's either mine or a hair's going in there.
I don't know. But we have to start trying to even the playing field because the advantage is to them right now. A couple last questions I'll ask. Well, one last question I'll ask both of you. And we'll see if you get any of the answers right.
Oh, jeez.
What is one rule that every parent should implement in their house tonight that would immediately start making their kids safer? Just based on our conversation today, what do you think one rule that they could implement is?
Internet, parental controls, taking it out of rooms.
One rule. Talk about the day.
Okay. I think some other good ones are.
We didn't get that right.
No, you got. I don't think there's a wrong answer. If you're trying, you're already
Right.
doing something positive,
Yeah.
right? No phones in bedrooms is a good one, right? And yeah, your kids might hate you for a little while, but maybe they don't go through a bad experience that might change their life. Every parent out there needs to write down a list of who knows their kid and who has access to them, and make sure you actually know them. And then you need to have open conversations about uncomfortable situations. So, we probably scared the shit out of a lot of you at home today.
I didn't cry.
You want me to make you cry?
No. I'm just saying, I didn't cry.
Do you want me to make you cry?
No.
There's still time, and it's not that hard. I'm good at
I'm
stuff. Let's end on this. We're gonna end a couple statistics that are powerful. We already talked about how many percentage, right? 93% of child sexual abuse victims know their abuser. 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 13 boys experience sexual abuse before age 18. And this is data from the U.S. Department of Justice. So if you're at one of those people and you're at home saying, oh, this would never happen to me or my kids, it's a pretty powerful number. That's 25% of girls and 1 out of 13 boys. And many of them never report it until adulthood. Or at all. Statistically, we know only the cases that were actually reported. Right? I mean, we could bring up Epstein, we could bring up all that kind of stuff, and it should be in the conversation, right? I'm not a very political person just because I've been around it my entire professional life, pretty much, in some way, shape, or form. But educate yourself on the Epstein files. Better yet, you should be concerned that Congress, 357 members of Congress, just voted to not release anything that had to do with sexual harassment claims against them. And they won. So that's its own thing. Grooming is often slow and strategic, right? They go through their whole process just like the good guys do to find bad guys, right? They identify a vulnerable child that has access through a trusted setting. They build an emotional connection and isolate and then introduce secrecy. Predators rarely start immediately with a crime. They start with trust. And then I would be remiss if I didn't offer resources. One of the resources, I'm going to talk about a few, but one of the resources I want to talk about is the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, missingkids.org. Their resources include online safety guides, how to report online predators, which we need to report, parent education tools, and then the cyber tip line for reporting exploitation. That's a really good starting point. I actually got to take some classes with some people that worked at missing and exploited children, and their organization is doing amazing work, but they need help too. RAIN, RAINN, RAIN.org. It's a 24/7 confidential hotline. It's a help for victims and parents, and they have guidance on reporting if you're not sure. Their hotline is actually 800-656-HOPE. For child abuse stuff, for prevention resources, the Child Help National Child Abuse Hotline, 800-4-A-CHILD, so 800-4 and then a child. They have crisis counselors, guidance for parents, and help if a disclosure happens. And then Internet Safety for Family, National Crime Prevention Council. It's a great resource on device safety, gaming platforms, and parental monitoring tools. And then finally, one that I'm kind of familiar with because we actually have done some stuff with them in the past is Bark. If you haven't heard of Bark, look it up. Bark has, they make their own devices and like their own software for devices for kids, for tablets, for phones. They have tracking built into it for the parents to be able to see where they are. They have a lot of amazing resources at Bark. I don't get paid to say any of that, by the way, but hey, Bark, hit me up if you want to talk. But Bark is a really good one. Again, I just want to kind of end with this. Predators rely on three things: secrecy, access, and silence. If parents take those three things away, then you're already dramatically reducing the risk. Open your lines of communication, open your supervision, right? And teach them awareness. And that's kind of how we get, through this. I can tell you, I've tried my hardest already, and we'll see how that goes. But Roblox, if it was up to me, that wouldn't be in my house. Discord, not a chance. Snapchat, I don't have Snapchat. Well, my business has a Snapchat for marketing reasons, but I don't have a Snapchat. TikTok, a lot of bad stuff happens on TikTok. A lot of stuff happens on Instagram.
I don't have TikTok.
So the important thing, do something. If you're not sure, talk to somebody. You can always call us if you have questions at Discreet Security Services Investigations, 240-761-7266. And there's always help. That's the last thing, right? Like, you don't have to feel isolated yourself if your child had an issue. A lot of parents don't want other people to know that they let their children have an issue. Bad things are going to happen no matter what. What you do to recover from that and help after makes the difference. So if you're not sure, we're a private detective agency, we're a special police agency, we're a security agency in Maryland and other states now. Ask, call us, set up a consult. I'll talk to you for free and what you should do. I'll give you the best advice I can. If I can't help you, I'll guide you to somebody that can. But it starts with paying attention and doing something. Do you guys have any last thoughts?
Complacency is the enemy.
Yeah. Jamie?
Nothing.
All right. Well, we are going to head out. If you, I don't want to say if you like what you heard today because it was a pretty heavy topic, but if you think you have people that would benefit from seeing this, there's a couple things you can do to help us. Like, share, and follow, and leave comments. But that share one, that's a big one. This conversation needs to be heard by as many people out there because as unfortunate as there's still people that live under a rock and think that this stuff doesn't happen. I'm going to send you over that link still that we saw earlier for Sean Ryan Show, episode 284. I don't know how I remember that number, but that's what it is, 284. With Schlepp. It's eye-opening. But the best thing you can do is pay attention and do something. So like, follow, share, hit that share button, especially. People need to hear this, and tell us what you think. Ask us questions. We can go on Facebook Live. We can do a bunch of stuff. Chief Ruffin from last week's episode, and Sergeant Lee, they both offered to get on, and we can go live anytime. We're here. We're here to help, and we're here to give you guidance if you need it, because we don't want anyone to be alone. So thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.
You've been listening to The Protectors Project. New episodes drop weekly, focused on leadership, preparedness, and real-world protection. If this episode added value, subscribe, share it with someone who carries responsibility, and join the conversation. Until next time, stay prepared, stay accountable, and lead well.